Hey there, creepy peeps. My name is Maven and I like to talk about horror movies. If you're new here, I also hope that you like talking about horror movies, because if not, I don't know how you found my channel. And if you're returning, I already know you like to talk about horror movies, so welcome back. Right out of the gate, I want to thank my creepy patron peeps for supporting my channel. Thank you guys so much. If you want to find out the perks to being a creepy patron peep yourself, you can follow that link in the description. It's always there. Alrighty, so as you can see from the title of the video, I'm going to be talking about the movie Safer at Home, which is another entry in the very small category of quarantine COVID horror movies. Safer at Home is, of course, taking place on a private video chat with a bunch of different friends who are quarantining in their home. They all decide to take ecstasy to, you know, add a little fun to their video chat, and things go horribly, horribly wrong. Like I said, everybody in the group takes Molly, which is sent to them by one of their friends. Things start to go wrong. The birthday boy Evan and his girlfriend Jen get into an argument, and Evan like kind of lunges at her, yelling, and scares her, so she stumbles backward and cracks her head open on a ledge. That's what takes us through the whole movie, is Evan panicking because his girlfriend is dead, and all of his friends were on video chat, like watching this happen, and then like the police show up. I gotta say, the plot of this is paper thin. Like, motivation for everything to move forward just relies on a lot of unrealistic or a lot of very convenient things happening. So like when Jen screams and then cracks her head open when she stumbles backwards, one of Evan's neighbors comes over to, you know, like, because he obviously heard a scream. And then a few scenes later, like, the cops come and you hear the neighbor over explaining, for I guess the audience's sake, that I think Evan killed her. Like, all you heard was a scream, and so he calls the cops on like a potential domestic abuse case, and then it cuts to like, I think he killed her. Like, I just feel like it was a little bit on the nose. This leads to Evan like going on the run. He's out after curfew. He has to run like blocks away from his apartment to where his car is parked, like in a shitty neighborhood all by itself on the side of the road, which I don't fucking understand. It's basically just him running around the city essentially while his friends try and calm him down. That's like the whole movie. A lot of it just doesn't make sense. I know movies are about suspending your disbelief, but I feel like if you're gonna set your movie in reality, in a realistic situation, you have to work a little bit harder to let audiences suspend their disbelief. So when you have a nursing student as one of the characters who watches her friend crack her head open, and not once does this nursing student suggest CPR. I don't know if that's what you're supposed to do if somebody has a head injury, but the character didn't even see it. She like looks away, and then the next thing she knows, her friend is unconscious. So I feel like one of the first things out of her mouth should be like instructing Evan on giving her CPR. Doesn't suggest calling an ambulance. In fact, it's another character that suggests calling an ambulance way too long after. Like, I feel like that should have been the first thing out of everybody's mouth, was to call 911. I kind of just offhand mentioned that calling the cops isn't gonna help or whatever. In fact, it's just gonna hurt Evan because it's gonna look like he killed her. What? I think maybe them all taking Molly was also kind of an excuse, but again, my problem with that is not that I have any experience like witnessing people on drugs or taking hard drugs like Molly. I feel like not a single one of them were acting like they were actually on drugs. They were all so lucid, so articulate, completely aware of their surroundings and what's happening. Not a single one of them seemed like they were on drugs. It was almost like, I feel like there were parts where the filmmakers were almost like telling the actors like, oh, remember you're on drugs. And so they like insert a little bit where like somebody, legitimately a character says like, I feel like I'm gonna crawl out of my skin, and just kind of looks concerned for about 5 seconds and then goes back to normal again. I just feel like the movie was not well thought out at all plot-wise. So it just felt like pulling teeth getting through the 80 minutes of this movie, because I feel like this could have been a short film. And even then it wouldn't have been that realistic of a short film. I couldn't help but compare it to Host because that's the only other movie like that I've seen. And so I'm just sitting there thinking like, Host did it way better and in less time. Not that it's a race or anything, but they did it so much better. There's also a few other things that I noticed if I can get nitpicky. I mean, this whole video is a rant, so the entire thing has been nitpicky. Their cameras were obviously actual cameras with great microphones and perfect lighting for everybody. Everybody had this perfect lighting set up, perfectly in focus, great cameras, and it's obviously supposed to be on their phones and laptops. Okay. And even the parts where like, you know, Evan's running around outside or somebody's running around outside and the signal's going in and out, it's the image just becomes like pixelated, like perfectly pixelated. Like they literally just threw like a pixelate filter over the footage. And yet it's like, for why you went out of your way to make it look like perfect, which makes it look less realistic. Needless to say, I did not like the movie. So I'm gonna give it a 0.5 out of 5. I honestly can't think of a single redeeming quality in this movie. I know that sounds mean, but on IMDb it has a 3.7 out of 10. On Rotten Tomatoes it has a 0% critic score that's out of 12 reviews and an 81% audience score out of less than 50. And then on Letterboxd it has a 2.1 out of 5. Only a couple of you that I follow on Letterboxd have seen it, like 5 of you, and it's half star to 2.5 stars, the most. So I've never been more convinced that I should probably look up ratings before I see a movie. That's what I get for just trusting it and going in blind. If you've seen Safer at Home, let me know in the comments what you thought about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new here. Become a Creepy Peep today. I post 2 new videos a week on Wednesdays and Saturdays. See you this weekend with a new video. Until then, stay strange. Bye.